My name is Tiana Richards. I am the coordinator of Multicultural Student Affairs. And on behalf of the Black History Month Committee, I would like to welcome everyone to today's Black Monologues project. First, I will begin with introducing our facilitator for this afternoon, Dr. Amani Wazwaz, who earned her doctorate from Loyola University. During her doctoral studies, her areas of specialty were cultural studies and the 19th and 20th century American literature in multicultural contexts. For her dissertation, she wrote about the role of the body in pain in African American literature and the 20th century American literature. At Moraine Valley, she currently teaches composition, American literature, African American literature, non-Western literature, and nonfiction creative writing. She has a great interest in African American literature, world literature, American literature composition, and creative writing and visual arts. Her research interests center around the writings of Frederick Douglass. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Amani Wazwaz and our students today.
Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for coming to this event. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I am Alvin Ailey, choreographer and activist. But don't let the choreographer part turn you away. If you think you are a dancer, know that dance is for everybody. I believe that the dance came from the people and that it should always be delivered back to the people. Dance didn't become part of my life until after high school. But once it did become part of my life, it was there forever. I was born in 1913 in Texas. I moved to California with my mother. While there, I enjoyed learning languages, singing spirituals in glee club, writing poetry, and seeing theater. A friend of mine introduced me to a dance club through Lester Horton's studio. Horton became my mentor, and his school was the first multiracial dance school in the United States. I studied around California, finding out what I wanted to do. I met a woman named Margaret Johnson, and we performed at a nightclub act together. You might know her as Maya Angelou. I went back to study with my mentor and was in several films as an actor and dancer. Eventually, I began choreographing and directing. I was also invited to be on Broadway in more films, working on Truman Capote and Pearl Bailey and Lena Horne. But I wanted to create my own style of modern dance, and so I formed the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. My dance company has always been diverse, unlike other dance companies in the 1950s. Oftentimes, I faced racism and discrimination, but the stories of the African American people inspired all of my works. I used African American music and revelations, blues suites, and I dedicated Cry to my mother and Black women everywhere. I asked that dancers infuse my choreography with their own personal style and incorporated elements of jazz, ballet, modern dance, and later hip hop. I also founded the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in New York, and our goal is to provide access to the arts in undeserved communities. The school now trains over 3,500 dancers each year. By 1977, the NAACP awarded me the Spin Guard Medal, and I received the Kennedy Center Honors in 1988. But in 1989, I died due to complications from HIV/AIDS. Wanting to protect my mother from the deep stigma that existed around HIV and AIDS and homosexuality at that time, I asked that the doctors announce a different medical condition for my death. President Barack Obama in 2014 awarded me the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you. I am Alvin Ailey.
I was born in 1845 in Massachusetts. My parents were slaves and moved after being freed. I became interested in nursing during my schooling, and after seeing so many nurses during the Civil War, I was admitted to the program at the New England Hospital for Women and Children, the first school to allow women as well as men. Even though I was too young for minimum standard of age, I was admitted because I had worked hard at the hospital, nearly 16 hours a day, in various jobs. Nursing school was extremely challenging. The days were from early morning to late at night. I worked as a private nurse to earn money as well. Our last 2 months at the program involved using our skills in new environments, like hospitals or private homes. But I graduated in 1879, the first African-American female to do so in the US. I fought hard against discrimination, I and other black women, especially nurses, that we faced often. We were often acquitted with the help, despite our advanced degree and skills. I worked as a private nurse for a long part of my career and gained an incredible reputation. I finished out my career working at the Institution for Free Colored Children and the Colored Elderly. I founded a nursing association since the main association did not accept black people at the time. I was very vocal about the women's right movement to vote and was one of the first women in Boston to register to vote. I stayed active in the fight for civil rights. I am in the American Nurses Association Hall of Fame and the National Women's Hall of Fame. There are health centers, a Congress resolution, a lecture series, an award named for me. The Mary Mahoney Award from the American Nurses Association is awarded annually to a nurse or a group of nurses showing commitment to diversity and inclusion within the nursing profession. Thank you. I'm Mary Eliza Mahoney.
I'm Chicago's best kept secret. I'm regarded as the first permanent non-native settler of what later became Chicago, Illinois. I am recognized as the founder of Chicago also. It has been said that I am from African descent, but little else is known of my life prior to the 1770s. They call me the father of Chicago. I was born on the island of Haiti around 1745 to a French sailor and mother who was of slave descent. I settled and traded around the Great Lakes in the Illinois country, which changed hands several times among the French, Britain, Spain, and the United States. I was educated in France and then, in the early 1770s, sailed to New Orleans. From there, I made my way up the Mississippi River to Peoria, Illinois, where I met and married a Native American woman, Kiwata, and had 2 children also. This is where I developed my interest and skill of trading. I was first recorded as living at the mouth of the Chicago River in a trader's journal. Of the early 1790s, I established an intensive and thriving trading settlement in which later became the city of Chicago. I sold my Chicago River property in 1800 and moved to St. Charles, now in Missouri, where I was licensed to run Missouri Ferry. I had a successful role in developing the Chicago River settlement, but was not recognized until the mid-17th century. At my trading post, I served Native Americans, British, and French explorers. I spoke Spanish, French, English, and several Native American dialects, which served him as well, an entrepreneur and meteor. In 1779, during the American Revolution War, I was arrested by the British military on suspicion of being an American sympathizer. In early 1700s, I worked for the British Lieutenant Governor on an estate at which is now the city of St. Clair, Michigan. I sold my estate on May 7th, 1800. My wife and son passed away. Then I returned to Peoria, Illinois. Later, I moved to St. Charles, Missouri, where I died August 28, 1818. I am John Baptiste, Point DuSable. Thank you.
I was one of the most successful and distinguished female African American news correspondents of all time, having worked for the Washington Post, the New York Times, NBC, and PBS. Born in New York on September 29, 1955, I majored in communications and became a reporter for the Boston Herald American in 1977. While later working for the Baltimore's Evening Sun, I had my first opportunity to work in front of the cameras as a host of a news show for a local public television station. I continued working for the New York Times as a White House correspondent and as a local and national political reporter for the Washington Post before joining NBC News in 1994 as a congressional correspondent. I also appeared as a guest on political programs such as Meet the Press and Washington's Week. Thanks to my analytical skills and journalistic savvy, PBS hired me in 1999 to work for two of its programs, News Hour with Jim Lair and Washington's Week. In 2013, I became a co-anchor and a co-managing editor with Judy Woodruff for News Hour. And we became the first women to anchor a network news program. I was the first African American woman to moderate a vice presidential debate in 2004 between Dick Cheney and John Edwards. And then again in 2008 between Joe Biden and Sarah Palin. Overall, I covered 7 presidential campaigns and reported on a range of issues, from foreign affairs to US politics and policies, interviewing national and international newsmakers. A well-respected journalist, I receive a number of honors, as well as more than 20 honorary doctorates, and wrote a book, The Breakthrough: Politics and Race in the Age of Obama, in 2009. I was a board member on several prestigious organizations and was included in Ebony magazine list of 150 most influential African Americans. I died of breast and endometrial cancer on November 14th, 2016, at the age of 61, but left a legacy of being a trailblazing, barrier-breaking journalist. Thank you. I'm Gwen Ifill.
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland on July 2nd, 1908. I was a good student, but I often got in trouble for misbehaving. My dad enjoyed going to court and listening to law cases. This caused me to want to become a lawyer. Oh, I messed up. Okay. I attended college at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. While in college, I enjoyed being on the debate team, and I joined Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. After graduating, I wanted to attend the University of Maryland. However, they wouldn't allow me because I was African American. I went to law school to Howard University instead, and I finished first in my class. After graduating and passing the bar exam, I opened a small law practice in Baltimore. One of my first biggest cases was against the University of Maryland. Remember, they wouldn't admit me because of my race, and they was doing the same thing to those years later. So I fought the University of Maryland in court for discrimination and won the case. Now they will have to let every African American attend the school. Go ahead. This was just the start of my fight against segregation. I began to be known for both of my skills as a lawyer and my passion for civil rights. I became the chief counsel of the NAACP. And over the next several years, I traveled around the country defending African Americans who are often wrongly accused. I often fought against segregation and Jim Crow laws of the South. Eventually, I earned the nickname Mr. Civil Rights. My most known case was called Brown versus the Board of Education. In this case, I argued that schools should not be segregated. I argued that separate schools does not define equality. In a landmark decision for the civil rights movement, I won the case showing that segregation was unconstitutional. President Lyndon Johnson nominated me for Supreme Court judge in 1966, and I was confirmed by the Senate on August 30th, 1967. It became the first African-American Supreme Court judge, and I served for 24 years. On January 24th, 1993, I passed away. I left a legacy using the law that oppressed people and the Constitution to fight for the rights by breaking down racial barriers, including achieving one of the highest positions of government as Supreme Court. I am Mr. Civil Rights, Thurgood Marshall.
I am, and always will be, a catalyst for change. I am Shirley Anita Chisholm, a congresswoman, civil rights activist, social reformer, and educator. I broke down racial and gender barriers in the 1960s and 1970s and made history, not only as the first black congresswoman, but also as the first black woman to seek a major party's presidential nomination. Brooklyn raised and born on November 30th, 1924, with international roots of a Barbadian mother and Guyanese father. I grew up as one of 8 kids during the Depression and understood the meaning of hard work and saw education as a means to secure my future. After receiving a master's degree in early childhood education in 1951, I began a distinguished career as an educator, which led to my activism within the community for the NAACP. In 1968, I made history by becoming the United States' first African-American congresswoman and was placed on the Veterans Affairs Committee, eventually graduating to the Education and Labor Committee. Also, I became one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus in 1969 and championed minority education and employment opportunities throughout my tenure in Congress. I went on to run for the 1972 Democratic nomination for the presidency, becoming the first major party African-American candidate to do so. My campaign, Unbought and Unbossed, was full of challenges. I received multiple threats against my life, including assassination attempts, and was granted Secret Service protection to ensure my safety. I even had to sue to be included in televised debates during this time. I have been inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame with a Forever stamp as part of the Black Heritage Series and a Presidential Medal of Freedom with a movie about my life, and wrote 2 political memoirs, Unbought and Unbossed and The Good Fight. I died on New Year's Day, 2005, at the age of 80. And I want you to remember me as a woman who dared to be a catalyst of change. I don't want to be remembered as the first black woman who went to Congress. And I don't even want to be remembered as the first woman who happened to be black to make the bid for the presidency. I want to be remembered as a woman who fought for change in the 20th century. In the end, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. I am Shirley Chisholm. Thank you.
I am Dr. Mae C Jamieson, an American physician and the first African-American woman to become an astronaut. At the age of 3, I moved to Chicago, where I was introduced to science by my uncle, which developed an interest throughout my childhood in anthropology, archaeology, evolution, and astronomy. While in high school at Morgan Park, I became interested in biomedical engineering. After graduating at age 16, I entered Stanford University, where I graduated with a degree in chemical engineering and African American studies. In 1977, I entered medical school at Cornell University, where I pursued an interest in international medicine. After volunteering at a summer refugee program in Cambodia, I was determined to study in Kenya, where I worked on several research projects, including the development of the hepatitis B vaccine. Upon returning to the United States, I applied to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, to be an astronaut, and I was one out of 15 accepted out of 2,000 applicants. In 1992, I spent more than a week orbiting the Earth in the space shuttle Endeavour. In space, I can remember looking down, seeing Chicago, and I said to myself, to never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. I was making history and a path for the future. In recognition of my accomplishments, I have received several awards, such as the 1988 Essence Science and Technology Award, was named Gamma Sigma Gamma Woman of the Year, received the Ebony Black Achievement Award, along with the Montgomery Fellowship from Dartmouth College. Also, there are several public schools named after me in honor of my achievements. After leaving the Astronaut Corps in 1993, I established the Jamison Group, became a professor at Dartmouth College, started the Earth We Share program, and published my autobiography, Find Where the Wind Goes, Moments from My Life. Thank you. I am Dr. Mae C Jamieson.
I float like a butterfly, but I sting like a bee. Of course you know who I am. I'm not the greatest, but I'm the double greatest. Not only do I knock them out, but I pick the round. I'm the boldest, prettiest, most superior, most scientific, most skilled fighter in the ring. I am the only fighter to win the heavyweight championship 3 times. I won 56 fights and I only lost 5. At one time in my life, my championship title was taken away from me because I refused to fight in the Vietnam War. I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. They wanted to put me in jail, and I had to appeal. 3.5 years of my life were lost when I was denied fighting in the boxing ring. People either loved me or they hated me for my political or my religious views. Yes, I converted to Islam. Remember, I am America. I'm the part you won't recognize, but get used to me, because I'm black, I'm confident, best believe I'm cocky. It's my name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. So get used to me. Even when I won the lightweight championship medal in the Olympics in Rome, at only the age of 18, many restaurants in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, they still refused to serve me. In my late 30s, my health started to decline, and I was later diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. In 1996, 3.5 billion people saw my vulnerability as I trembled while having the honor of lighting the fire in the Summer Olympic Games. I spent many years of my life doing my Muslim duty of giving to others of all faiths. It's estimated that I must have helped feed well over 22 million hungry people. What I suffered physically was worth what I accomplished in my life. A man who was not courageous enough to take a risk will never accomplish anything in their life. I'm not afraid of dying. I have faith. I do everything I can to live my life right and believe that dying will most definitely bring me closer to God. So I'm telling you, live every day like it's your last. And don't forget, the service to others is the rent you pay here for your room on earth. Thank you. I'm the double greatest, Muhammad Ali. Yeah.
I was an American singer, songwriter, civil rights activist, actress, and pianist that began my career singing gospel music. I am Aretha Louise Franklin, born March 25th, 1942, in Memphis, Tennessee, the fourth of 5 children to Baptist preacher and gospel singer. At the age of 10, my family relocated to Detroit, Michigan, which led me to teach myself how to sing and play the piano. By the age of 14, I had recorded and released the album Songs of Faith in 1956. I also performed with CL's Traveling Revival and Show. While on tour, became friends with great gospels such as Mahalia Jackson, Sam Cooke, and Clara Ward. Also, at the age of 14, I became a mother to my first son, Clarence, and Edward came 2 years later. At the age of 18, I embarked on a secular career recording for Columbia Records, Atlantic Records, and Arista Records, with hit songs such as Chain, 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 Chain the Fools, Whenever I Wake Up, Before I Put On My Makeup, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Rock steady, baby. That's what I feel like. By the end of the 1960s, I had become to known as the Queen of Soul. By 1987, I became the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and received an honorary doctorate for the University of Detroit. That same year, I released One Lord, One Faith, and One Baptism, which won the Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance. In 1993, I was invited to sing at the inauguration of Bill Clinton. And the following year, I received both a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and the Kennedy Center Honors. On the morning of August 16th, 2018, I died of pancreatic cancer. And I must tell you, I retired and I feel very, very enriched and satisfied with respect to where my career has came from and where it has gone. I love you all. I am the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
Okay, please, a round of applause for our talented students. Okay, let's get to know them and what this project has meant to them. So for the first student, could you please tell us your name, major, and what semester you're at Moraine Valley?
Sure, my name is Curtis Griffin. I am majoring in performing arts, and this is my last year at Moraine.
Okay, that's awesome. How did it feel like to play this character, Curtis?
Felt really, really good, especially when you can connect to the character that you're playing as. It was second nature to me. You know, Alvin Ailey was a choreographer, and he was an activist. I love dancing, I love theater, and that's exactly what he was into. Yeah, it was so easy to play him. It felt really good.
Okay, so you connected to him, felt it was second nature, which is absolutely awesome. When you were outside, what reactions did you experience when playing your character?
A lot of surprise reactions. A few people kind of like stared and into space. They were like, "Oh, like, who is this kid?" Like, a lot of confused reactions as well. Like, we never see like people in, you know. I wasn't yelling or anything like that, but they were looking at me like, "Oh, this dude is yelling. Why is he yelling?" Like, I don't know. Just a lot of confused expressions, I guess.
Okay, so a lot of response, a lot of surprises, a lot of confused reactions. how has this figure influenced you in life today, Curtis?
Alvin Ailey, he influenced me through his story. Reading this monologue, it, you know, he went through, obviously, he went through racism, he went through discrimination, but the key thing to him was that he didn't stop. And his, you know, people say, you know, oh, you know, you just got to keep going, you know, even it's hard. Sometimes it really is hard. When you're confronted with that, it's a hard thing to move on. But he didn't let that stop him. And for me, you know, I'm a very charismatic person. You know, I'm very optimistic. So I feel like if I'm ever confronted with something like that, hopefully I'm not going to be going through that. But if I ever do, I'll just keep it trucking, for sure.
All right, so the biggest lesson is that he faced so many harsh experiences with racism, with prejudice. And it's not like, you know, certain like perceptions that it's easy to pick up and keep on going. When he picked up and he kept on going, it took a lot of strength from his heart and soul. I hear you. All right. If I could please have everybody say their names first, and then I'll go back and ask you the questions. So Curtis, you went first, and your name, and then first your names, and then I'll go back.
My name is Yamia Robinson. My major is media studies, and this is my second semester here.
My name is Jacob, and my major is forensic science, and this is my second year here.
My name is Daisha Robinson. I'm majoring in communications, and this is my last semester.
My name is Damon Wilson. My major is biology, and this is my fourth semester.
My name is Aaliyah Black. I am majoring in computer science. This is my last semester at Moraine.
My name is Kirsten Beatty. My major is theater, and this is my last semester at Moraine.
Oh. I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Drew Williams. My major is paleontology, and this is my second year at Moraine.
My name is Brianna Hedrick. I'm majoring in acting and communication, and this is my last semester here.
Okay. Thank you, Brianna. So we're going to, let me have it back. Okay. It's your turn, and I want to ask you your name again, please.
Yamia.
Okay. I want to ask you, how did it feel to play your character?
It felt very inspiring to play her because one of the reasons why I was so excited to do this live museum was because a lot of people don't know about Mary Mahoney and the work that she has done and the legacy that she left. And I was just so happy to play her because I was so happy to discover that somebody did all of this hard work and like no one knew of her. And I just felt so inspired to just tell everyone about her. And I was, very excited about her.
That is awesome. What reactions did you experience when you were playing your character?
It was a lot of surprise reactions, like a lot of confusion because no one like knew who she was, and they were like, they didn't know whether to clap or not, but it was mixed reactions, but overall it was positive.
Okay, all right. So surprise, but positive, mixed reactions. And how has this figure influenced you in life today?
She paved the way for so many like black women and black men in the medical field, and it's a good thing because like whenever I like go to doctor and I like doctor or the hospital and I see people who's doing that look like me, makes me feel a lot more comfortable. And also just her motivation, like she went through like a lot of stuff and she just didn't put her past behind her. She like learned and grew from her past, and that's how she was so strong. And
Right, thank you so much. Okay, next, can I please have your name once again?
Jacob Murray.
Okay. How did it feel to play this character?
Well, it felt good to play this character, actually. Not only playing the character, when I was asked to do this, I was like, who is John Baptiste? Then I did my research, and I'm like, oh, everybody know, I think this is important to do, because everybody know who founded the United States as a whole, but who founded Chicago, by itself, Chicago by itself, because that's important to know, because we all come from here. We all from Chicago. You know, Chicago is actually one of the best tourist spots in the United States, actually, in my opinion. I don't know about what you guys think, but it actually is. So it'd be cool to put information out there like, oh, who founded this place? Like, oh, John Baptiste founded Chicago. And not only that, he has a museum and a high school named after him, which is located on the south side of Chicago. It's the DuSable Museum. It's actually pretty good. I've been there before. So, yeah.
Right, that is awesome. I want to ask you, what reactions did you experience when playing your character?
Reactions, it was like, reactions. It was, you know, shocking probably to people, especially to a lot of people that know me. Like, when they seen what I had on, it was like, what you got on? What you wearing? Like, for real? What you doing? And so, yeah.
Okay.
It was different.
It was good. It was different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And not used to seeing you dressed this way. Okay. How has this figure influenced you in life today?
Actually, it influenced me a lot because John Baptiste was a risk taker. He was a businessman, and he got his things. He did what he had to do. And that's how I feel like from no matter where you come from, you always going to be considered a risk taker because you're going outside your norm to do anything capable, anything possible. And I feel like that's important. That's a good thing to do. Like, he founded Chicago. Like, did you know he founded Chicago? I'm pretty sure. Oh, well, she did, but she did. That's different. But, like, did anybody else know that she founded Chicago, that he founded Chicago, actually? Sorry about that. Like, so it's actually pretty good. So.
Right. Okay. Obviously, definitely very inspired. Okay. Thank you so much. Next. Okay.
Hi, I'm Daisha Robinson.
Okay. All right, Deja, how did it feel to play this character?
Very, very cool because I felt like connected to her. Her story was so inspiring for a black woman to be like the first black woman to anchor her own news show. It was really hard back then for black people. It's still hard now to have black people on TV, especially movies and things. So she really paved the way for that. I felt really inspired by it.
All right. So very inspired. And then when you were in the buildings acting her character, what were the reactions to you?
People were surprised. She's very underrated. Okay. So when I spoke about it, they were shocked because they never heard of her before.
All right. So they had not known of her. And how has she influenced you in your life?
Well, now reading her story, I'm very excited to continue my education because I'm going to school for communications as well. So to see that all the work that she's done and look what she has did since she's since passed away, I can't wait to be in that same position kind of because I see what she did and I want to do the same thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that is absolutely amazing. A very real inspirational figure and somebody who was in your field of interest. Okay. Next, your name, please.
Hey, my name's Damon.
Okay. Damon, how did it feel like to play Thurgood Marshall?
It felt like the complete opposite of who I am because he's a lawyer and I don't like to argue, so it was different.
Okay. All right. So somebody completely opposite from your personality. When you were out there, different parts of the campus at Moraine Valley, what were people's reactions to you?
I got congratulated for graduation.
Okay.
I got some good jobs, and some people asked me who I am, so it was cool.
Okay, all right, good. So they actually approached you, right? Okay. I want to ask you, reading up on the life of Thurgood Marshall and taking a part in this, how has his biography influenced you?
It influenced me because what he did with the case Brown Boys versus the Board of Education, it gave me more inspiration, more drive to finish school because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Right. And then it showed me that when the door closes, it's always another door open, and also that you could come back and kick that same door open and make opportunities for others.
Okay, all right. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Aaliyah, you're next. How did it feel to play this character?
It felt an absolute privilege to play Shirley Anita Chisholm.
Okay.
Said Anita for a reason. But an absolute privilege. She has paved the way for so many of us, not only women, but males as well. Without Shirley, will we even have a Barack Obama, you know? So an absolute privilege.
Okay, that is absolutely awesome. So, Aaliyah, you were out there, and what were people's reactions to you?
I actually did not receive a lot of reactions. People walked by, they kind of glanced like, what you doing? I did have someone ask to take a picture with me, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And then another person actually kind of responded negatively, actually. But I continued to read her story, and they just walked away. So
Okay, all right. I hear
did
you.
I did what Shirley would do.
Okay. Okay. Well, then, what has she personally meant to you in your life, in your personal life?
In my personal life, she has meant a lot. Shirley was the type of individual, what she said is what she meant. She was not afraid of taking that leap of faith. And that's something that I struggle with, and probably many of us in the African-American race. And not only African-Americans, but minorities as a whole. That's something that we struggle with, taking a leap of faith and not being concerned about what others think or the doors that could possibly close, like Thurgood had said. So for me, because of the fact that I am going into computer science, it is a male-dominant field. Not only is it male-dominant, but it's dominant, a Caucasian-dominant field as well. So by Shirley working on employment amongst my minorities, I actually now have the chance to be presented with the opportunity to pursue computer science as a career. So she's meant a lot to me, very much so.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah. This is amazing. Thank you. It's beautiful. Okay, Kirsten, how did it feel to play this character?
At first, it was like kind of weird because I knew who she was, but I was like, how am I gonna relate to this person? Because she's all like sciencey and I'm like very artistic. But then as I started like actually reading the monologue and like learning more about her, I found out that she was into anthropology, which is how I started out, was with wanting to study different cultures and stuff like that. And then I found out that she had been on Star Trek, and I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. Now I found like a way to relate to this person.
Okay, great. What were people's reactions when you were playing her role in the different parts of campus?
So mostly it was just like kind of like people just like, I'm trying to hustle to class, I don't have time for this. But there were a couple people who like came over and actually stopped. And then there was one girl who was like, at the end of the piece I say, who am I? And she like thought that I was asking her to like guess. And she was like, oh, I just saw her on Facebook. I know who she is, but like I can't think of her name. And it was cool that I was able to like be able to give a name to this face that we've been seeing on our Facebook and in our like Black History posters and stuff like that.
All right, that's great. What has this character meant in your life?
She is one of the people who proves that you don't have to stay inside of a box. She was so very smart that she was able to graduate like as a teenager, which is something that like many of us cannot do. And she also like, a lot of times people want to put you in this box of you can be pretty or you can be smart. She's both. You can have like more liberal arts and you can have more like scientific sort of things. She did both. Literally, like she says, don't be limited by other people's limited imagination. And that's how I aspire to be, is not limited by what other people think I can do.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Drew, how did it feel like to play the role of Muhammad Ali?
It was super overwhelming at first, and then the more I read and the more I connected to him, I really, really appreciate, and I really, really wasn't as overwhelmed as I was at first, because everybody knows Muhammad Ali. Like, I'm a real laid back person, and I mean I am confident, but he just took it to a whole nother level. Like, even And like the Ali movie, Will Smith still couldn't get Muhammad Ali like he really was for the most part. So I really felt privileged. Yeah, I'll say privileged.
Okay, privileged to play his role.
Yeah.
What about others' reactions to you?
A lot of people just walked past. A few people actually walked by and gave me a head nod, shook my hand and stuff like that. I mean, I really did appreciate it because like everybody knows Ali is the double greatest. You feel me? So I mean, for the most part, I could have got I could have been a little more loud, to be honest. But I did like what the reactions I did get for the most part.
Right. So Drew, you did your best. You did your best.
Yeah, I tried. I tried.
Okay. I want to ask you, how does the figure of Muhammad Ali, how has he influenced your life?
He influenced, like, I could probably speak for a lot of people, and he influenced me heavily because I am a very confident person, and I don't think a lot of African American men or like men in general would be as confident as far as not only like athletics but also chasing dreams. Because if it's something he was the greatest as far as being confident, not only being an African American man, but also being a Muslim, religion. So I really did it was fun in a way. Yeah.
Okay, I'm really glad you had this opportunity. That's awesome. Drew, okay, Brianna, Aretha Franklin, how did it feel like playing her role?
Playing Aretha, it was an honor, honestly, because she was just such a great woman. She was confident. You couldn't tell her that she wasn't the queen of soul, But yeah, it was a great honor to play her.
Right, that is amazing, and you did an awesome job, especially walking around and singing. That was beautiful. Brianna, what about like outside of the library? How did people react to you?
So at first I was like kind of nervous because Adrian was with me, but it was fun. I did it the first time without a mic, so I was like, okay, ain't nobody gonna hear me, I'm cool. So then she made sure she called Demetrius to have Demetrius bring me a microphone so everybody in the cafeteria could hear me. And then I had Josiah, Dean Kent down there, Noreen. So it was like, it made me feel confident because I had good feedback from people. And then actually one girl was like, okay, Aretha. And the other was like, girl, I like your dress. And I was like, oh, thank you, girl, Fashion Nova. So we started talking. And then like other people, when I got the microphone, people started clapping during the second time. So it was good.
Okay, so a lot of positive feedback, which is great. I want to ask you, Aretha Franklin, what has she meant in your life?
So in my life, Aretha had a child at 14, but that didn't stop her in her career. Then she had another child 2 years later. She kept pushing in her career. Then throughout the years, later down the year, she was sick, and her weight was going up and down. She had cancer probably a couple times, whatever, but she still got on stage and sung. She still pushed forward through whatever she had to do. So me being an actress, it makes me feel like, okay, it don't matter if you're sick, keep pushing. It don't matter what's going on, keep pushing, keep going. Don't stop just because you have a mild circumstance. So, looking at Aretha, how she kept going and pushing forward, it makes me feel like, okay, this is a strong black African-American woman. So I'm the same. I might be young, but I'm still going to push myself as an African-American woman to put myself out there. So, yeah.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Keep pushing yourself. It's awesome. Okay, round of applause, please, for these beautifully talented students. Now I want to direct the questions to you, and I want to ask you this. How have the historical figures made a difference in your life? Any of these historical figures, what difference have they made in your own life? Okay.
Well, my name is Mr. Griffin. I go by Curtis. It's my son. These young people made a big difference. Every time I come to this school, to Moraine Valley, they always have something new to offer that you just don't know or hear about. If you don't go to these colleges, or you haven't been to college, or you haven't visited, then you wouldn't get this information. You know, you'll go about your daily life and do the things that you normally do every day. However, when I come, I've learned so much from the speech team, the actors, their personalities, their character, new information about people. I've been on this earth longer than they have, and I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know about the nurse, and I'm in the nursing business and didn't have any information on her of any kind. Knew about Muhammad Ali, who didn't? However, but just to say the same, information is powerful, and it always will be. So it makes a difference in my life, because the more I learn, the more information I gain, the better person I am, the more that I can teach my younger son and friends and co-workers and things of that nature. So information is powerful. So it has made a big difference in me, and I'll continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Information is powerful, and Moraine has a lot to offer, and with events like these events are very empowering. Other ways, I'd like, for more people to share, other ways that these historical figures have made a difference in your life.
Okay, not being African American, I'm not going to speak of how it changed my life personally, but I do appreciate just the event itself, because it's so easy to know Aretha Franklin or Muhammad Ali because they're in popular culture and people are, hearing about them all the time, but you forget about the nurses, the astronauts, people that are in communications, journalism, all that other stuff. They're very important, and they lead way for a lot of people, and they are just as important as people that are singers and actresses, but it's also very good, because I know that a lot of you are in acting, to use your platform for things that are good, because it's so easy to not use it, and it's just something that you have that some people don't have that are in other fields. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to know people in other fields besides those in sports and those in singing, because they are contributing very well too. I'd like more of you to share. How have these figures made a difference in your life? And hearing about them today and learning about some of them today. More? Okay, good.
Personally, for me, I think inclusion is important, because a lot of the adults in our lives will tell us that you can do anything, and it is a good notion, and it's said with love, but it's more important to see that you can do anything. And when you see people who look like you in all facets of life doing anything and everything that they want, it further proves to you that you can.
Right, thank you so much. And the young woman here.
Being here today and learning about these, African American people that, kind of paved ways and broke milestones for, African American to, thrive more and make a better, just progress in society, and just gives you, the strength to keep going, keep breaking barriers, and, all these fields that we wouldn't have an opportunity to get into, and now that we know about them, this is the reason why I have all these rights and privileges, and I can actually do all of this stuff now.
Right, thank you so much. I want to ask, is there more?
I just wanted to say one thing, that is that I have an enormous amount of respect for Muhammad Ali, and did when he was alive. And the reason that I do is that he, from the very beginning, stated that he was diametrically opposed to the war in Vietnam. And he said that he didn't agree with it, and he wasn't going to play that game. And he paid a very heavy price for it, and he was willing to do it. And later on, when we saw other people, I don't mind mentioning their names, Ronald Reagan and John Wayne, who filed for exemption and never saw a day of fighting in World War II, came before the public and said it was everybody's duty to go and fight in the war. That's why I have so much respect for Muhammad Ali. And I just
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Spencer. I want to ask the audience, how have these historical figures made a difference in the Black community? How have they made a difference in the Black community? Your thoughts, please.
Well, lived on the west side all my life, and lived in the worstest neighborhood. Grew up in the projects. Took a long time to get great figures such as Muhammad Ali, the tap dancer. What is his name? Gregory Hines. You get old, you get short memory. Okay. At any point, it took a long time to get those individuals and get somebody to say, hey, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. So I've watched young people grow up to say, I want to be like him. The great Muhammad Ali, Gregory Hines, all of these different people, Michael Jordan, all these different things. So anytime you get people like that, and not just African-American descent, but any other good role model for your community is going to uplift that community. And every young man and young lady is going to want to be like someone. So it's good to have those role models, and it's good to know who they are and what they did, because it helps contribute to form who we are and what we're going to do in our future. So that's a good thing, and so I've seen that and lived that, so.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experiences. More thoughts. How have these figures played an important role in the African American community? Share thoughts along with the gentleman here.
For me, they just became idols. A lot of us come from bad neighborhoods and poverty, and they just kind of paved the way for all of us and gave us hope, and showed us that we can also be successful just like them and create and pave ways for other younger children.
Okay. They serve as models. They serve as figures of hope coming from tough neighborhoods, rough backgrounds. And the young woman here wants to share ideas.
They paved the way for equal opportunity, like the lady that, the judge that allowed us to go to school to get the same education as, I'm gonna say Caucasian people, because as we know, like when you didn't have the privilege, when you weren't able to go to those schools, you couldn't get the higher top education. So give us equal opportunity to pursue the same level of education as, other people, and other opportunities as, other people that we didn't have.
All right. So thank you. So one individual helps, opens the doors of opportunity to many, many individuals. I'm going to ask the next and last question. Can you please tell us about other prominent African American historical figures that have made a difference in the world? So many of them. Okay. Go ahead. Sure.
I'll take one. Martin Luther King.
Okay. Yes.
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou, yes. Go ahead. Who comes to your mind immediately? Okay.
No. Well, Michelle Obama.
Okay. Yes.
As of right now, and it's very
okay.
current. So.
The young woman in the back.
I was gonna say Michelle Obama, but
okay.
Barack Obama.
Okay.
Langston Hughes.
Yes, Langston Hughes.
I was gonna say LeBron James as of now.
Okay. Right.
Because he's.
Okay. You're saying Michael Jordan?
I'm saying Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Yes.
Malcolm X.
Who?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. Yes. Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't want to. It's just what I would think, and I'll explain. But I think Derrick Rose have had a positive impact on not only like probably like fans outside of Chicago, but guys that's coming up in Chicago. They want to be like Derrick Rose. They look up to Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose have been facing a lot of bad things. People have said a lot of bad things about him, but he didn't let that bother him. He didn't quit. He didn't stop playing basketball. He kept on going, and he also gives back. So it's like that's a great impact. Yeah, you got LeBron. Yeah, you got Michael Jordan. But let's get somebody that's really from the streets of Inglewood, of Chicago. Let's get somebody that's really been through all these problems that we are facing right now, and that's is actually occurring. So that's who I think it is.
A lot of you guys may not know this, but Michael Jackson is actually a really prominent figure in the music business because he was the first African American to ever appear on MTV, which speaks volumes. He is one of my biggest icons. I impersonate him. I love dancing and everything. But yeah, that's definitely one.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, Drew.
Chance the Rapper. Yeah. If you know, you know. Basically.
Anybody else? Okay. Oh, Kirsten.
Wait, what? I was just gonna say that Angela Davis, like, total icon.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, Viola Davis and Angela Bassett. And Cicely Tyson.
Jackie Robinson.
Anybody?
Okay. I know some of y'all not feeling Kanye West right now, but you know, we still got to give him some credit. Right, Kanye West.
Mary McLeod Bethune.
Who is it? Say it again, ma'am.
Mary McLeod Bethune.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say a name, and I want to know if you even know who this person is. Dr. Sylvia Jenkins.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Sure.
I have one more. Marva Collins. Marva Collins.
I'm sorry, we're not going to take a lot of time, I promise. Marva Collins, oh my goodness, first black woman to give out education freely and teach kids in her house for the very first time to the poor children that was in the neighborhood. Marva Collins has 2 schools. She's taught President Bush kids. She's taught so many president kids, it's unbelievable. Marva Collins' daughter opened up a school. They opened up a school on the west side of Chicago, and their educational level, most of her kids that come out of the school system, they go straight to Harvard, some of the big name schools out there. She's been on the map for, oh my goodness, they made a movie out of her, things of that nature. She is much more, we need to give much more accolades to her. If you don't know who Marva Collins is, please do yourself a favor. Look her up, look at her accolades and things of that nature, look at her historism of all the things that she's done for Chicago by itself alone. Just a wonderful woman, People that you really should know. I forgot about Marva Collins. Thank you, son. Awesome, very awesome.
Thank you so much. Tiana?
Can you hear me? Yes. I hope that everyone learned some valuable and new information. This will conclude our event, but first I would like to give you a round of applause to our facilitator, Dr. Imani Wise. And I know that you consistently applauded the students up here of Black Student Association, but I just want to remind you guys that they're all full-time students. They have jobs, some are in plays, so this was something additional and extra to their lives, and please give them a round of applause of appreciation.
Yay.
So I especially want to thank you guys, especially for dealing with myself and Ms. Stewart in rehearsing. We really do appreciate it. Just a reminder, we have just a reminder, we have 2 more events left for Black History Month. 3 more, sorry, which will be Curls and Conversations, the You Matter series that happens next Wednesday in U111 at 2 to 3 p.m. This is a student-only event, so if you want to learn more information, please find me at the end of the event. We have our Juneteenth Celebration of Freedom that will be facilitated again by Dr. Wazwaz next Thursday in the library from 12:30 to 1:45. And our last event will be the African Diaspora Day. Very fun day, so I hope that everyone can come out and support Black Student Association from 11 a.m. to 1:30 on Wednesday, February 27th. Again, I thank you guys for listening and giving them your undivided attention. Have a good afternoon.